Hello again everybody, we are back in Cities Skylines and you're with Poison Fog Gaming. This is an interesting video. It's all going to be time-lapsed with a commentary over the top, so if that's not your thing, my apologies. But with the project that we're currently trying to do here, I do feel at this stage it is the best way to produce a video. Mainly because we're doing it with all the rules on for the game in terms of money and building population, trying to get unlocks, etc. So I've already done a tutorial video, I don't need to bore you with that again. So this is just a general time lapse with a couple of different priorities and hopes coming from it. First of all is that we expand upon our starting city, start to make it more profitable, we start to get it a little bit more populated, and from there we can move on to bigger and greater things and work with a greater air of freedom. The other thing for the objectives of this is just to get back into the swing of it. It is a game I love, but I do sometimes find it's difficult just to start. Especially when I want to make some YouTube content, and I would much prefer that the YouTube content I create is of a good quality or contains something special, and in the event whereby I've already done a tutorial on how to grow a city, I don't want to repeat material, so we're just going to crash through this quite quickly and hopefully get ourselves to a stage whereby we can start to make some nice things and we can start to have a budget freedom to do some detailing and to make some nice intersections, play with the public transport to the most of their abilities. Same for parks, universities, stadiums, etc. So there are big plans for this, but I also want to make it organic. And in fact, on screen now you will see the first of a few little mini set pieces. I'm not going to say these are final by any means or using the majority of my skills, but rather than just build on the roads, we're going to use the fences, we're going to use the trees, we're going to try and leave some green space. I did have to divert to top up the power, which again is one of the reasons this video's been time-lapsed the way it is. If I was to do this sort of live or talking with running commentary while I was building it, darting back and forward I don't think would make quite as exciting a video. But yeah, here you can see a very small sample and probably the first example of this not just being a normal playthrough, but we are going to try and make things make sense. That is on top of the series being, like I say, very organic, working with the land and the map that we've been given. I'm not going to dip into the tools to shape the land and stuff like that. If there's trees in a certain spot, we're going to run with trees being in that certain spot. Same for the other workable land, be it farmland, oil, or same for the hills, the terrain, the slopes, the rivers. We're going to try our best to build the city around them, how it would be built in a more organic fashion. I make absolutely no secret that my biggest pet peeve in this game is the fact that it asks you to start a city in the middle of an empty field or next to a motorway, which is the absolute last place you would build a settlement. You build it by a resource or by an ocean. You know, the first transport vehicles were boats and horse-drawn carriages. So why we build a new city next to a road absolutely dumbfounds me. And I really hope Cities Skylines 2 make slightly smarter decisions on their maps. You know, start each of them by a river mouth, or start each of them by a port and make the ship the first vehicle. Aside from, you know, simple roads. and simple roads are not highway roads. But I'm getting sidetracked. You can see here we've just made the school segment. There's 2 elementary schools, 2 high schools. They have playgrounds either side of them, plus a couple of tennis courts. I think it's tennis or basketball. In fact, I think it's basketball. So that is the first signs of us having an education hub. There's some plazas out the front. We may expand that hub in either direction or potentially put some transport around it as things go on. Of course, we have to play with the water and the pipes. We're at least doing this at the start of the city. We may not continue it at the end of the city. We may let a mod overtake it. But for now, I want to showcase the fact that we can build this city within the rules. We can unlock all of the different buildings. Really just push the vanilla-ish version of Cities Skylines as far as we can. It is console friendly, this series. And ultimately, by the time we're done here, I fully hope that we will be in a much better position to make more content, more regular content featuring this city. Because I've been at a little bit of a creative loss, and ultimately my advice for myself and my advice for any of you guys, if you don't really know what to build or how to build, is quite literally just start. And it will come. It may not be video showcase worthy, but eventually it will come. I am also going to be priding this city on not having a strict grid layout. I'm deliberately making these roads imperfect. You may call it the European style, which is, judging by my accent, I'm sure you can figure out I am European, at least for now. Yay Brexit. Oh, I got very political. How naughty. But yeah, just start and see what happens. What we're building so far, it may not stay. It may just be used as a functional starting point, or it may be expanded on. Ideally, I'd like it just to get expanded upon, but we'll see what happens. We are also leaving plenty space for our road network to expand. We have a new industry down the bottom right of the screen. That is probably going to be best utilised by getting some highway down there. Same for the industry up the top left. So lots and lots of different projects that we're about to take on here. I do hope that this is a slightly different take to how you've seen most people create their Cities Skylines on YouTube. A lot of people go down the mod route, a lot of people go down the infinite money route. A lot of people might show shortcuts, for example using toll roads or parks to exploit money. Some people might use the unlock all. That's not what we're doing here. It's more of a protest. No, not a protest. What's the word? A purist playthrough. And yes, I am using some mods, but they're not game breaking mods, as I have already explained in my previous video. And in fact, you can check out my top 20 mod video, which showcases, certainly the first few mods in that video are the ones I am using for this series. I'll add a wee link in the card. Check that out. If you are interested in checking out more of my stuff, we are also on Discord. Sign up to that now, check the description, you'll be one of the first there. Would really love to make a nice little community for everyone, and of course there'll be a dedicated chat to Cities Skylines as one of my main games. There will be other stuff on there as well, but if you have not reached those videos or that content, maybe they're just not for you. But there will always be a safe place to talk out any Cities Skylines related issues. or news, videos, pictures on my Discord. And on top of that, give us a subscribe and talk to me. These series, I feel, always work better if you guys have some input. So, I'm just one person. The thoughts and the ideas I come up with are only from one brain. If you guys suggest things you want to see, that is going to be so much better. Obviously, the more brains putting in an input, the more ideas, the better, and we can cherry pick from the best of them. Just next to the education hub, we have put in a elderly care, child care, and a little bit morbid as it may be, we're also putting in a graveyard. Partly because it fits, and also partly because we don't really have any churches. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not a religious person at all, but small towns, they always had a few churches near their city centre. So that's kind of also why I've put a graveyard in there, even though it is right next to the elderly. Also, the elderly, the childcare, the graveyard, and the education spot all being in the same place. It is shaping up to be a nice little town centre. I can't wait to unlock the bus hub to get some buses servicing all the local residential areas in and out of this area. Should be nice and easy for everyone to get to this area, be it school kids, the elderly, or people who wish to visit. We also have the parks nearby. We have our custom park, and alongside the education area there are some plazas and playgrounds, so lots to bring people to this area. And as you see me expanding the roads here, one of the last things I put in is actually the shopping mall, just a good distance from the schools. So if you are an elderly person living here, or if you're a parent, you know, it's nice and easy to pop to the shops, to and from the school run. And of course, I do like walkability as well, and I like functionality. So it's going to be a very well thought out city, I hope, with plenty traffic management, plenty walkability, plenty things that just make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, chances are it's going to get edited out. Well, not edited from the video, but removed from the city at some point, because I want the city to work. I want it to be practical. This isn't a fantasy city so much. This is... I mean, Cities Skylines weird. It's actually become for me a very educational game, because I've always really liked these games, and it's, to an extent, made me look up how cities work. It's made me, you know, seek education on the matter as well. And there's lots of little tips and tricks and histories that I've learned, and I think the main interest from that was ultimately playing the game, rather than just learning how a city works without the influence of this. And that's true for other games as well. Prison Architect was actually another one. A very different style of game, but still a creative game. For some reason I ended up learning about prisons just because it sparked curiosity in how these things work more internally. So, very much how my brain works. And that is it for this build. So this is more of a recap, more of a heads up that there's more to come. Please like, share, subscribe, be part of the community, and I would love to see you next time. Goodbye.